LeBron James' much anticipated return to Cleveland, and the King himself and the Cleveland fans at least lived up to the hype. And for more on the contest, back to Cleveland with Ernie, Kenny, and Charles.
All right, thank you, Matt. Here in Cleveland tonight, 118-90 the final as LeBron James returns to Cleveland and leads the Heat with a 38-point performance, 24 of those coming in the third quarter, and they win it going away, 118-90. Here with Kenny the Jet Smith and Charles Barkley. And I think Cleveland fans, guys, had a chance to get something off their collective chest, but they also got a brutal reminder of how great LeBron James can be and what they saw here for 7 years in his career.
Well, I don't think they were surprised. I think you see why they wanted LeBron to stay here. You know what? I'm kind of glad it's gotten to the point where now we can start concentrating on basketball. This was a big night in the NBA. I'm glad it's over. And actually, for the most part, the people of Cleveland were great all night.
Yeah, it was closure. I think being in the arena, him seeing the fans, I'm glad that Cleveland didn't go to Miami first. I'm happy that this game was here, the first time that they would seeing them. And overall, collectively, it was what I expected, but a little bit more in terms of enthusiasm at the beginning of the game, but what I expected.
But I got to tell you something, Ernie, them Cavaliers didn't compete at all. You know, LeBron was standing beside their bench joking with him. They were joking with him.
You know what it is, Chuck? They weren't ready for that stage. None of those guys have ever been the main character in a stage like this. So they didn't have a LeBron. They didn't have anyone to lean on.
Let me tell you something. The beauty of sports is the competition aspect.
For sure.
First of all, you want it. Like I say, I was excited to be here. If I'm a player like that, I'm excited to be in this environment. And they're never going to play with a home crowd at that level ever again in their entire life.
Yeah, Cleveland fans had this game circled in their minds back on July 8th when LeBron made the decision. They could circle it on the calendar on August 10th when the schedule came out. And so here it came tonight at 5:28 as LeBron reports for duty in his return, and a throng of media and cameras as he made his way to the Miami locker room, came out, warmed up at 5:55, saw some of his former teammates, and then it was almost time to go to work.
Well, it was a lot of love. It was a love fest for the teammates. I think there is a thing missing between the lines. When you get between the lines, there's something different that you have to turn on to be a great player or a really good player, because the fans were ready to make him uncomfortable, and the players made him comfortable on the other team.
Yeah, I was disappointed in the Cavaliers players. They were too friendly with LeBron, and it's just from a competitor aspect.
And he did do the powder. The powder of no powder, the answer was powder. Dancing, no dancing, the answer was dancing. He did everything that he wanted to do, and he had done when he was here. And, you know, J.J. Hicks started the game out playing well, and they started, and it was enthusiasm. But there wasn't an anger in the Cleveland Cavaliers players as there was in the fans.
And not even anger, just from a competitive standpoint.
Yeah, once it was 17-12 Cleveland, and that's when Miami went on a 16-0 run and essentially ended the game at that point.
Because they're good, Miami, but they're not this good. And they haven't been this good all year. So you can't say that this is what you could have expected out of them, because they have played well against bad teams, but they haven't been blowing everyone out, and they haven't played well against good teams.
You see D. Wade with the finish there. He had a 22-point night, 9 rebounds and 9 assists on 10 of 16 shooting.
Ernie, you see some of these plays with the Heat, they're styling and profiling, as we say. That's when you should, like, hey, you know, let's man up and come at them.
They were up 19 at the half, and then put a 36-25 third quarter on them, and 24 of those 36 points came from LeBron James.
These two baskets, you can't give up. The last 2 baskets that LeBron James, that he skates through the lane. He can power through you, but he can't skate through you and make shots, because then all of a sudden the jump shot feels better, and he starts looking at the bench, looking at the crowd, and he gets into his rhythm.
He would finish with 38, 5 and 8 on 15 of 25 shooting.
And that's in 3 quarters.
Exactly. He sat the entire fourth. And this, another pull-up jumper.
Well, that's just a heat check right there, Ernie.
It's definitely a heat check. And he became the aggressor
And that's something that's past heat check. I don't even know what's past heat check.
And a few words for the Cleveland bench on the way by, and then with Jawad Williams as the game ends, 118-90. Yeah.
I wouldn't hug my mom if she beat me like that.
That was the only hug post game. Everybody else in the Cleveland uniform.
If my mama beat
off.
me 118-90, I wouldn't even hug her.
And Craig Sager, after the game, had a chance to talk to LeBron.
The fans had their say tonight. What would you like to say to them if you could?
7 great years. Loved every part. Loved every moment from the growth when I was an 18-year-old kid to a 25-year-old man. And, you know, tried our best. As a team, we tried our best to bring a championship to the city and just try to play hard every night. So I got the utmost respect for this franchise, utmost respect for these fans, and, you know, just continue the greatness for myself here in Miami and try to get better every day.
You can't go back with your decision, but do you regret how it ended? Would you like to apologize for the way it ended?
I don't want to apologize. I think, you know, my intentions was not to hurt anyone. You know, my intentions were solely on kids during the whole process. And, you know, I always say, you know, decisions I make, I live with them. You know, there's always ways that you can correct them or ways that you can do them better. But at the end of the day, I live with them. And, you know, I'm satisfied. I'm happy right now.
And so in the return, LeBron James goes for 38. It's 15 out of 25, pulls down 5 rebounds, 8 dishes, and he does it all, playing 29 minutes, sitting the entire fourth quarter. So how would you sum up the night that you just saw, Charles?
Well, I want to congratulate the city of Cleveland. I know there's been a lot of animosity, but, yeah, of course they're angry. But, you know, overall it was a good night for the fans. LeBron clearly played fantastic. But they got a chance to vent. Now it's over now, in my opinion. It's over now. It's never going to be, you know, the first time you go back is always the toughest time. But I'm glad it's over. It was a nationwide story. You saw it on every station today. I'm glad there were no major incidents. And now I think this puts closure to it.
Yeah, it transcended basketball in the fact that this has never happened in any sport. You know, a player born in a city becomes a great player and the face of a league, and then he leaves the city that he was born in and played in.
Or actually born in Akron, but Akron hates you.
But you think about it, Ernie, like most players, Charles and I were talking about, their whole life, you try to come back. You want to come back to the city you played in, like, or lived. So I always want to be a Knick in the back of my heart. I say, oh, how could I get to be a Knick? Charles always probably wanted, well, there's no teams in Alabama. But
the Auburn Tigers are there.
But he
the #1 ranked team in the BCS.
But you want to go back to the city. He left. So it just spoke volumes probably to the people of Akron saying, wait a minute, and Cleveland, we're not good enough.
And Ernie, in fairness to this whole Cleveland situation, you see the difference between Cleveland. They sell out every game. And you got Miami, who's got the glamorous trio. They're not selling out. And they're talking about they're trying to fan up. I think there's a difference in the mentality of fans. Cleveland is a hardcore with the Browns, with the Indians, with the Cavaliers. Then you go to Miami. No matter what, Miami is a great city, but they're not sports fans.
They made a lot of noise here today in Cleveland, but the Cavs fall to 7-11. The Miami Heat have played 20 games now and are 12-8 and are led on this night by the guy making his return, LeBron James, with 38. As we go back to Atlanta. Matt?
All right, Ernie, thanks so much. It was such a spectacle with the signage and the T-shirts and the chanting and the venom all directed at one guy. The Cleveland fans made their point. LeBron James made 38 points. What do you make of all this?
LeBron made the biggest point of all. He walked on the floor and he did what he does so well. He dominated the basketball game. That third quarter was just vintage LeBron that you saw him do many, many times in Cleveland. The bad part for all those Cleveland fans is when he did it previously, he was wearing their jersey.
Right.
Now he's wearing a Miami Heat jersey and lit him up. His third quarter, though, I mean, he was on fire. He was making shots that you get that heat check going. He's stepping back and making shots and just was on fire. I thought the game ended right here, Chris, on that move right there. I thought the Cleveland fans said, oh, That's it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to see LeBron play this way. He came out, he played hard. I mean, he really should have had 50. We were cheated. I wish Cleveland would have actually played harder so that he could have had 50 in the fourth quarter. They would have needed him. But glad to see him go back and face this. I mean, let's be honest. He's a good person. He made what many consider to be a bad decision in how he left. Hopefully this is just over now and the NBA can just celebrate how good this guy is. Because this guy, I mean, he's good. He should have had 50 tonight. And truthfully, if my girlfriend left me and she was that beautiful, or my teammate left me and he was that good, I'd be mad too. So exactly. Hopefully all this is just water under the bridge.
Yeah. And now we can just go back to the incessant scrutiny of the Miami Heat on the floor,
right,
which will continue now. This was another of their wins against a sub-500 team, which has become a trend so far this season. As you look at the numbers against losing teams, they're real good. Not so good against winning teams, 1-7. By definition, that makes them an average basketball team. And even statistically, it's hard to find one thing that stands out about the Heat. They're number one in fewest turnovers league-wide. Other than that, they're pretty much middle of the pack in every category. Was there anything about this game that changes that perception for you?
They played a little faster. They got up and down. They had some fast break points. I love the fact they come down, they get a rebound, they throw it ahead, they make a pass to half court, they skip it ahead really quick up to Wade. Wade goes in and dunks on him. I mean, Wade and LeBron are unguardable in a situation where there's open court, and they're attacking you. They're so shifty with the ball and so strong. So I like the way they play. I like the fact that the role players made some shots. But to use a line that Kenny likes to use when he sits here, they're looters in a riot. I mean, he said, you know, when it all breaks loose. And can you do that against really good teams? Can you do that against the Boston Celtics? Can you play that one-on-one style of game that they didn't play as much tonight, but they've played in the past, Chris? Can you do that against Dwight Howard when he's standing back there protecting the rim?
That's a great question, and right now the answer is no. Because when Boston has a lead at halftime, they don't lose. The Celtics are the Miami Heat are 0-7 in games they're down at the half. Really think about that. Yeah. I thought this was the NBA where everyone make a run. Thanks, Hal, too. You're the man for the stats up there. But, you know, I thought everybody made a run. These guys don't make a run because they don't speed it up. They're one of the best defensive players, best defensive teams in the league, but yet their possessions on offense are lower than other teams. Yeah. They have to run. We talked to Coach Spoelstra before the season. He said he wanted them to be the most athletic and the fastest team in the league. They got to play like that because if they play with their speed, I don't care how much height you have, you can't keep up with them.
Well, against good teams, they just don't get easy baskets.
Well, but they should, though, because they have penetrators. At the end of the day, you have LeBron and you have Dwayne Wade. These guys should get to the free throw line 10-plus times, and when they go in there, everybody else spread out and just be ready to make that shot.
And Bosh has got to be able to outrun the other bigs. I mean, he's long, he's lean, he's got to get down the floor. He's got to compress the defense and allow LeBron and Dwayne just to break people down and get some pace in the game. Because I agree with you. They should be almost unguardable with pace in the game. But if you're going to walk it up and play against set defenses like the Celtics or Orlando, or play against the Lakers in the finals if they ever get to that, all that size is just going to be too hard to go in and score constantly in the paint.
The best defensive team I've ever played on, Detroit Pistons, 06, one year like that, were the best team I ever played on. LeBron James played against him in the conference final, 25 straight points in the fourth quarter. When I tell you we were smacking him on the head on every jump shot, hitting him on the arm, this guy is unstoppable. He's a linebacker with the ball. Have the ball in his hands. Let Dwayne Wade be his wide receiver, running back, because when these two guys have the ball, I don't care how big you are, you cannot keep up with this.
This is all the sort of stuff we heard back in July when they assembled this group.
Well, maybe they'll listen to it.
Yeah, well, hold on. But this is the stuff Chris and I heard October 5th in the exhibition game when I became a big fan.
Still waiting to see it, though.
It's December.
Now I hurt my ankle jumping off the bench.
Oh, that's right. You picked them over your Celtics to win.